The new generative fill in Photoshop. How do we use it and should we use it? That's in today's video. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today in this short video we're talking about using Photoshop and specifically the new generative fill, which at the time of recording this is in the new Photoshop Beta. So no doubt it will be making its way into the full release of Photoshop sometime soon. So in case you don't know, Generative Fill uses AI and the Adobe stock library to automatically add or remove content from an image. It can extend an image or change backgrounds. At the moment, to use this feature, you must be a paid subscriber to Photoshop and your computer must be connected to the internet. All the image processing is done in the cloud, which is why you need to be online. So let's jump over to Photoshop and take a look to see how we can use this for both aviation and landscape photography. So here we are, we're currently looking at Photoshop 25.0.0 Beta. Take a look at this image here and let's say we want to change the plain sky around this photo of the RAF Blackjack Typhoon. All we need to do is select the subject, invert the mask, type something like cloudy sky into the contextual box, wait a few moments and let Generative Fill change the sky for us. The new sky is then applied to the image on its own layer. Now I've had varying levels of success with this, and this is one of the better options given. Perhaps using Generative Fill for this still has a way to go to be convincing. Let's now take a look at this landscape image I shot at Wicken Fen a few years ago. As an example, let's just say we made the mistake of not shooting this photo in an upright portrait format. So we want to take this landscape photo and extend it vertically, say for a social media post for example. All we do is crop the image upwards and the contextual box changes to Generative Expand. Leave the Generative Expand box blank, hit generate and wait a few moments for the processing to finish and let Photoshop expand the area with more of the same kind of content. Likewise, we can expand the image downwards too, and the results this time are unbelievably impressive and convincing. The only thing I find I need to do sometimes is to recrop the image a tiny bit because a pixel or two along the edges of the new filled areas were left blank, but that's no big deal. If you're finding this video useful, please consider helping this channel out by subscribing, and don't forget to tap the notification bell so you don't miss out on more photography videos from me in the future. Now back to the video. Next up is this photo, which I took recently at Whitstable Harbour. As you can see, there is a digger and a 4x4 on the quayside, which is kind of spoiling the shot. So to remove them, just use the lasso tool to roughly draw around the object or objects you want to remove. Select Generative Fill, but leave the text box blank and press Generate. Photoshop then removes those objects and completely removes those distractions for you without you having to go to the time and effort to remove them manually by using the likes of the clone and spot healing brush tools. This is so much quicker and the result is super impressive, realistic and convincing. When you use Generative Fill or Generative Expand, Photoshop always gives you three options to choose from, and as you can see here, all three options are all equally acceptable replacements for where the digger and the 4x4 used to be. So that's Generative Fill. It can do so much more than this, but these are the common cases which I expect to be using it for. There is a question of ethics when using this tool. I think you need to be comfortable with how you are going to use this tool, and you need to ask yourself if you are a photographer or a digital artist. In my view, and maybe it's a simplistic one, if you are a photographer, then I think it's acceptable to remove objects and distractions to improve the composition of the image. If you add objects, then I think that enters the realms of digital artistry, but that's only my opinion for what it's worth. Personally, as an aviation photographer, I think it's acceptable to remove distracting elements from the background to enhance the image. And likewise, I would possibly change a plain sky for something more detailed if a particular photo needed it. And that's because the aircraft is often the only subject. When taking landscape photos, my opinion changes slightly because the whole photo, foreground, midground and background, is kind of one big subject. I try to capture the landscape image as best as I possibly can completely in camera. So in that respect, I would never add anything to an image, nor do I think I would ever perform something like a sky replacement. However, that said, I'm not a professional landscape photographer, and as I simply do not have the time to spend days on end at a location, sometimes hundreds of miles away, waiting to get the perfect shot. So in certain situations, I think it's perfectly acceptable to remove objects and distractions to improve composition and the appearance of the image. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on generative fill. Is it ethical, and how will you be using it? Leave a comment below. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.